Okay guys, we're back. And now this is the viewer question portion of the video. And the very first one is how do we set up a shrimp tank? And there's so many different ways to do it. And I'm going to be showing you guys the SL Aqua method and the ones that I use personally. For my soil choice, I always like to use SL Aqua soil. I use the medium or the fine powder. I feel like as this one doesn't have a lot of ammonia, there's a lot less wait time than ADA. I usually tear down my tanks after a year anyway, so I wouldn't really see a lot of the beneficial aspects of having ADA set up for a long time. Then for filtration, I always use a Matin filter for the 20 gallons and the 10 gallons. This just offers such a huge surface area for the shrimp to graze on, and I just like the overall look of them so much. No hassle, no mess. I vacuum the front of it within maybe every 6 months or so, just to get everything going in there. And I just love the way it works. So we got our soil, we have our filter. Let's move on to the water. RO, RO, RO. The biggest benefits you can have in this hobby is matching your buyers or sellers parameters. And with using RO water and guaranteeing that it's zero TDS, you can match other people's with confidence. I use RO water in all of my tanks, including all my Neo tanks too. So we have our soil, we have our water source, and where do we go from there? This is where a lot of the products come into play, and I'll show you guys what I like to use when cycling a tank. So here we have a couple of the things. This is a Blue Wizard remineralizer for our TDS. Then we're going to use a Million powder, as well as SL Aqua Magic powder, and a Vins barley. What I like to do is I like to take a fine layer of the substrate and I place it down. I sprinkle the magic powder on top, as well as the Million powder. However much you like to use depends on how much growth you're going to get out of this biofilm that you see out of here. Then I also like to add a little bit of this as well. This is the Vins barley, nitrifying bacteria. It's excellent. So what I will do is I will take the substrate without water. I'll sprinkle the magic powder and the Million powder on top. Then I will add a certain amount of Purify. You can find the measurements on Eric's website on DiscoBait. And I will let this substrate seed, which means only putting a small amount of water above the soil line. And I will let that one sit for 2 or 3 days before filling the rest of the tank up with remineralized water up to 100 TDS, and I add a heater at 86 degrees. I will let this tank sit, and this is at about day 10 or so, day 11 or so, and this is how much growth that I've gotten so far. All of this is biofilm for the shrimp to enjoy, and they love this stuff. I'm telling you, this is the secret to having a very, very quick breeding with the animals, and you'll see the shrimps love to eat this stuff up. So, I mean, I've put 10 shrimp in here, 20 shrimp in here to start off with, and seen so many buried shrimp back to back to back right away. An environment is key to having an amazing shrimp tank. So I will let this sit for 14 days or so, and then I will add an additional dose of Purify, which I'll show you the bottle here. All these measurements can be found on Eric's website, and you can see exactly how much to add. It varies from gallon to gallon of size of tanks. Once this is at day 30, I will just do a 90% water change and fill the rest of the tank up with RO water, remove the heater and get it down to a suitable temperature, and add the shrimp. This is a great, and then I add also a floating plants too. So this is such an excellent way to cycle a tank, and it's easy too. There is some upstart from the products that you have to buy in the beginning, but that's fine. It's so worth it to see the shrimp grazing on this and the results you get. It's always 10 out of 10. Now we're going to get more into the breeding questions. How do you breed shrimp, and what makes it happen? You know, again, environment. If the shrimp are happy, the shrimp are comfortable, if they're matched to your buyer's parameters, you're going to see a lot of results. Also, you know, we're going to get more into feeding, products that I use with water changes and stuff like that too. To start off with, we're going to go into the water changes. techniques that I use to do water changes and the additives as well. So let's get into that one soon.